Girl, get out of there. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. This is your husband? He sound like an op. Hello, little enzymes. Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. The topic of today's video is going to be switching it up. So we have several stories today just about situations where people thought it was one thing and then the other person switched it up and then it turned out to be another thing. All of the links and information will be included in the description. I'm gonna put my hat on, not because of any reason, but like this, I'm trying to get my setup right, and this light right here, it actually does kind of bother my eyes a lot while I'm sitting here reading. It's just like shining on me, and so the hat kind of like blocks it out. Plus I just like wearing my hat. You know, you guys know I love wearing my little hat. So yeah, like I said, we have several stories. Let's just go ahead and get into it. So usually I tend to do stories that have updates because I don't like cliffhangers and I don't like not knowing what happened. But I realized that I've been neglecting some of those like one-off stories that are still equally as interesting, but just don't have an update or just don't have an update yet. So I'm gonna do a few of those first, and then the last one I have does have an update. This first story says, boyfriend doesn't want to get married after 11 years together, despite saying he wanted to marry me when we first got together. My boyfriend, 26 male, and me, 27 female, have been together for 11 years. We have lived together for 9 years and both have good jobs and stable income. That is 11 years? 26 male, 11 years. That's since y'all were 15 and you were 16. He was 15, you were 16. That is a long time. Y'all have heard me say it before. I just don't think that it ever, well, I won't say ever. In a lot of cases, it doesn't end up well where people start their relationship in their teenage years and then like just continue it from there. I haven't seen it in well, but yikes. So she says, for context, 2 years into our relationship, he proposed to me and I said yes. Girl, he was 17. A few months after that, he cheated on me and we broke up. We got back together a couple of months later, but agreed to hold off being engaged again until we were sure everything was okay and the relationship was healed. We were really young, so I don't hold this situation against him. Fast forward 9 years later, and despite me consistently expressing how important it is to me since we first got together, he now openly states that his stance has changed and he doesn't believe in marriage as a concept. Whenever I bring it up, there is always some different excuse, like it's too much money, we're still young, I'm sure I'll do it one day, etc. But today, when I mention it again, he said, if you care more about a piece of paper than me, then you might as well just leave. I felt this was a really low blow because if I only cared about the paper, I would have left him years ago, and I'm obviously still here because I love him. But the part that gets me the most is that he is constantly dangling this one-day narrative that he might propose to me one day, yet also says he no longer believes in it. My personal opinion is that he never intends on marrying me, and the one-day narrative is just his way of keeping me in limbo, so I don't have to make the gut-wrenching choice between marriage or him. Sister, this is not gonna go anywhere. I mean, I could just be, overly pessimistic, but this situation doesn't sound like it's really gonna go anywhere. And that's why I just don't like it when like people are in, I mean, at the end of the day, it ain't got nothing to do with me. But me personally, I would never have a long-term relationship with someone who I got together with when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Because the fact of the matter is people have experiences through life. They grow, they change, their ideas about things change. That is just how humans are. Like our worldview, our concepts get solidified just through time, experiences, etc. And the person who you knew, obviously, at 17 is not the same person you know at 27, clearly. And that's just life. Sometimes it happens where people grow in the same direction, but many times it happens where people grow apart. That's just how life goes. And I do agree that it sounds like he's kind of dangling this idea over your head. To me, it sounds like he just don't know, like, at all what exactly he wants to do, which is fine. But he shouldn't just be having you strung along while he's trying to figure it out. He should just go figure it out by himself. And hopefully, if y'all are both single by the time he gets it together, y'all can try again or something. But you're still young. You're still young. I wouldn't personally waste any more time. 11 years, that's a long time. I'd probably not waste much more time in this situation. All right, let me continue with her post. She said, few disclaimers. I am worried about why he doesn't want to marry me. The why would be the reason I choose to leave, not the fact alone that he doesn't want to marry me. I'm worried that I'll let the paranoia of what his reasons are turn into resentment. In reality, I'm not sure I am strong enough to leave him. I love him so much, and I think I just end up spending the rest of my life with a hole where that dream is, as that's a smaller hole than the one he'd leave behind. A few of the reasons I want to get married are: 1. Commitment. Unlike my boyfriend, I come from a family of failed marriages, usually due to one person changing massively after marriage. I'd rather know sooner than later that my boyfriend will be able to handle the commitment and not in another 10 years if he finally decides to propose, then find out he's going to change. 2. Morbid but necessary stuff like if one of us were to fall ill, I'd want to have everything I own and make all the decisions, but legally, even with the power of attorney, there's a chance my family can override that unless we're married. 3. The wedding. I've always dreamed of having a wedding, being surrounded by our families, my dad walking me down the aisle, etc. It's superficial, I know, but something I've always dreamed of. 4. Principle. We both started this relationship with the same stance on marriage. Mine hasn't changed, his has. I feel like I've been 100% loyal and loving since day one, and I feel a certain level of entitlement and worth where I haven't changed my stance and have done nothing but earn the right to be his wife. Opinions, please? I see his side, but I just can't bring myself to be okay with it. I'm hoping other opinions might help me work out what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so I'm kind of in the notion that like an actual like marriage doesn't like bother me either way. If I find a man and we fall in love and he wants to get married, I will. If we fall in love and he doesn't want to get married, that's fine too, I think. I think the main part for me is just having all, like she said, the legal stuff worked out. And if you don't want the court to be involved, whatever. I would still like to have some sort of like a commitment ceremony. Some may call it a wedding, whatever. Just like something to like solidify, like just like a symbol of like unification. I don't know, whatever. For her, I think she really needs to sit down and think, if they don't get married, is that going to be a deal breaker for her? I know one of her reasons was commitment, but like y'all are committed. Y'all been together for 11 years. That's commitment if I ever saw it. So do you want like a formal commitment in the form of a legal document? Is there a way that you guys can compromise? For example, if you just have a wedding but not have it like legally on paper. But I don't know, like she got to figure out what exactly is going to be her deal breaker in the situation and then go from there. But I don't think she should base her decision. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting lost in my thoughts here. Let me read the comments. Someone says, he doesn't want to marry you. If marriage is that important to you, it's time to walk away and find someone who wants to marry you. He may get married to someone else later on, but if he wanted to marry you, he would have done it already. Sorry, sometimes things just don't go as planned. Someone responded, OP should have left when he cheated and never returned. Another person said he's probably still cheating and feels like he can't if they get married. I mean, he still will, but he'd feel conflicted. Someone responded, to another comment and said, I totally agree with everything you posted. People change so much between the teenage years and their 20s. I'm really thankful that I didn't marry any of the guys I dated as a teen. Disaster would have been given. I completely agree. Some boy called himself proposing to me when I was like 18. Didn't have a ring or nothing, child. No plan of action, no nothing, child. I thought I was in love. I was like, oh, I'm finna get married. I'm so glad that didn't happen. I'm so glad that didn't happen. My life would literally be completely different right now. Like, completely different. Child. And I think this might be a good comment. Someone says, this was the first comment I read, even before reading the post. OP, the comment above. What is the comment above? Let me see. Wait, I lost it. Oh, the comment above was the first one I read about he doesn't want to marry you. They said the comment above is the only thing you need to know. It really is this simple. Stop trying to make your situation fit into your fantasy of what you want it to be. People spend years of their life trying to turn reality into a fantasy of what they want in their mind. I have seen people do this dozens of times. There are uncountable numbers of relationships that will never be what one or both people need to be happy, feel secure, and be devoted to each other's well-being. When your boyfriend mentions you caring more about a piece of paper than him, he is saying you aren't that important to him. He wants you to believe that the paper is insignificant compared to the relationship. But what he is also saying is you aren't worth signing this insignificant piece of paper. Just for your information, I will go to the moon for my wife. I would do the same for her before we were married. We both want the best for our relationship. Sometimes she needs something that is important to her. Sometimes I do, and other times we both do. We both do what we can to make those things happen. I couldn't imagine refusing something that would make our commitment to each other stronger. My marriage to her is not the first for either of us. We recognize the pitfalls of bad relationships, but we have 14 years of marital bliss with each other, and it just keeps getting better. I am sorry to say that you don't have that kind of support and commitment from him. You deserve someone who will go to the moon for you. Do whatever you need to do for that to happen. That's a good comment. I agree. I don't think there's much left in this current relationship that she's in. Let me see if there's any update. Not quite yet. And she didn't have any comment replies. So we will keep an eye on it and see if there is an update. And I'll go to the next story. So this one is also a shorter one. No update yet, but it says, am I the a-hole for saying yes to my boyfriend's public proposal and then turning him down in private? So my 26 female boyfriend, 28 male, and I have been dating for about 3 years. Things have been good, but I've been clear that I'm not ready for marriage just yet. I've told him I need more time to feel comfortable with such a big step. Well, a few weeks ago, we went to a party hosted by his family for his dad's 60th. I noticed that he was acting a little nervous, but didn't think much of it. Then, during the event, he got everyone's attention, got down on one knee, and proposed to me in front of all his friends and family. I was completely caught off guard and panicked. Now, I've heard stories about how rejecting someone in public can humiliate them, and I really didn't want to do that to him, especially in front of everyone he cares about, so I said yes in the moment. Everyone cheered, and he looked so happy. I felt horrible for misleading him, but I didn't know what else to do. After the party, on the car ride home, I told him privately and explained that while I love him, I'm not ready to get married yet, and that I only said yes to avoid embarrassing him in front of everyone. I thought being honest in private was the best thing to do. He got really upset and said I'd humiliated him even more because now he has to go back and tell everyone that we're not actually engaged. He said I should have just said no at the party if that's how I felt. I feel terrible I've hurt him and put him in this position, but I also feel like he put me on the spot in front of everyone without considering my feelings. We've yet to tell his family or anyone, and they keep calling and texting to give their congrats, which is upsetting him even more. And I'm seeing videos his friends posted online of him getting on one knee, so it's pretty public now. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole? Should I have just said no in public? Or was I right to spare him the embarrassment in the moment? Whoo-wee! I mean, that's his fault. That's his fault. You said you told him you need more time to be comfortable with such a big step. And I see why. Because he clearly doesn't respect your wishes and he just tries to bulldoze over your feelings and things that you want to get what he wants. This is a huge red flag. Why would you propose to someone not knowing that they would say yes? Like, before you propose to someone, you should be 100% sure in your mind that they will say yes. You guys should have had conversations about this already, both on the same page, went to shop for rings together, all that. Like, how do you get to the point where you getting on one knee and you don't know for sure that that person is going to say yes? And I understand her. Like, I probably would have said yes too in the moment, and then later on been like, actually, because that's embarrassing. I honestly feel like it's worse to say no in the moment with everybody watching, cameras around. What's a girl to do? So at least, you can give it a little time after the fact and just be like, actually, we called it off. We're just gonna, and try to like play it off. That's just me. I don't know. So someone said, I totally get why you didn't want to embarrass him, but it seems like he didn't respect your feelings or boundaries by proposing in public when you've already been clear about not being ready. It's about communication, and honestly, it should have been a private conversation before he took that step. You're not wrong for being honest with him, even if it's tough. Exactly. Someone said, agreed, the party was about his father and not for him to steal any limelight. That's another red flag. You doing this at someone else's 60th birthday party? That's a milestone birthday party. And you pick that exact moment to propose? So everything is just all about you in life. Everything is all about what you want. Well, what OP's boyfriend wants, not you. Someone said, not the a-hole, this could have been written by me. If you see him as a future husband, then I'd recommend just having a long engagement instead of ending the engagement. Usually, ending an engagement means the whole relationship is over, and him having to explain that you're not engaged but still together will raise a lot of questions. Not to mention, it will be black mark against you in the eyes of his family and friends. If, however, you don't see yourself marrying him at all, then call it quits now. He wants marriage. If you don't want it or don't want it with him, then you have different ideas of the future. If you're not on board with ever marrying him, then it's just cruel to stay in a relationship with him. I told my now husband a few days after the engagement that while I absolutely saw myself marrying him, I wasn't ready yet and told him I wanted a long engagement. He understood, and we were engaged for 9 years. Before we eventually got married. We've now been married for 7 years and have 2 kids. Nah, sis. A 9-year engagement is crazy. I mean, to each their own. It's see to work, but a 9-year engagement? What? If I was a husband, I would have been gone. I would have been like, look, this person is just dragging me along. I would have lost all hope after year 3, like after year 1 for real. Like, that's crazy. OP responded, I guess you're right. I didn't want to admit it because I love him, but there are a few internal reasons why I hesitate to marry him. First, my parents did not really approve of him, and I know I'm a grown woman and I shouldn't care what they think, blah, blah, blah. And to be honest, they've sort of come around to him, but marriage is a big step and I don't want to hear the whole, I don't want to see you make a decision you're gonna regret talk. Also, I'm only admitting this because Reddit is anonymous, but I kind of want him to get his life together just a little bit before we get married. He doesn't have a stable job yet, and I don't want to be that naggy girlfriend, but I just want us to be financially stable before we tie the knot and possibly bring kids into the world. We could survive with my salary as a vet, but maybe it's selfish of me, but I would like to see him contribute a bit more to the pot as well, so it doesn't feel like my money, but more our money. I don't know, maybe that's my own problem though. Girl, get out of there. Get out of there. Get out. At his big age of 28, he don't have a stable job. Oh, no. Oh, no. If you decide to marry this man, you are willingly signing up for a life of turmoil. A man at 28, at the big age of 28, who doesn't have a stable job, cannot provide stability for my family. You already have learned enough lessons in life at 28. That is not the man for you. Give the ring back. Don't do a long engagement. Just break up. There's no freaking way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. That's probably why he want to get married, because he needs some benefits. He probably struggling financially. He need a sponsor. At 28, and you want that to be your children's father? I get why you didn't want to say yes. Somebody responded and said, and that's why your parents don't like him. If you don't want to break up, this is your answer. Stay engaged until we are more financially set. He's either going to step up or not. If he doesn't, move on. Set a timeline you want to see what happens. 1 year, 10 years, your call. Just make sure you don't get pregnant, period. Ooh, yeah. But get yourself on some contraception. Use multiple forms of contraception if y'all doing that. And you have amazingly good reasons not to get married, not to mention the red flags that I already mentioned before. So she doesn't have any more posts regarding this, but we'll keep an eye out to see if she posts some more. Good luck, sis. Hopefully some of the comments got through to you. Here's another one. Stay-at-home mom, 34 female, goes back to work after 7 years. 44 male husband wants money back. What should she do? I am a 34 female and have been married for 8 years to my husband, 47 male. In the title, it said 44, but now I say 47. Anyways, she says, when we got married, I got pregnant pretty quickly. We didn't have a plan in place for childcare. Initially, he had told me that his father wanted to take care of the baby as he was retired and was really looking forward to bonding with his grandchild. After having the baby, I quickly realized this would not work because of certain health conditions my father-in-law had. When we started looking at daycare in the area, it turned out that the daycare cost more than I made. I suggested we tried looking a little bit further out, as daycare costs were cheaper in more urban areas or even home daycares, but my husband would not hear of it. He kept insisting I should stay home with the baby, saying we couldn't trust home daycares and he didn't want to look into cheaper daycares. Okay. I stayed home for about 2 years when I got pregnant again. After many arguments, I ended up staying home for 7 years until the youngest could start school. My husband would give me a kind of allowance of about $375 a week, and from that I paid for groceries, my gas, car insurance, and anything the children and I would need, such as clothes, medicines, etc. It was really tough, especially as inflation increased. I knew my husband could not afford any more, so I ended up running up my credit card. Dang. I mean, yeah, $375 a week. How much is that? 375 times 4. Yeah, that's $1,500 a month. I mean, for 3 people, you got groceries, gas, the car insurance. Car insurance alone is going to be about $200 of that. Well, depending on where you live, because car insurance in California is ridiculous. But yeah, I could see how $1,500 could get spent very quickly between 3 people. Okay, so she says, now I am back to work making $48,000 a year. I am still paying the same things as before and about 20% rent plus internet and cable bills, while my husband takes care of 80% rent and helps out here and there with the kids. The thing is, now he is asking me to pay him back for the money he has given me over the years, and I don't think that is fair, as I am currently in debt because of our arrangement, and it wasn't something I wanted to do. He calls me ungrateful for pointing out it was his decision, and because I stayed home, we saved money. What do you think? Any advice for me? This is your husband? The man who promised to love and care for you and whatever else is in the vows? He sounds like an op. Why? This doesn't even make sense. You allowed him to save money. You allowed both of you as a unit to save money by staying home with the kids. Not to mention they got to bond with their mother, you got to spend more time around them, etc., etc. So it's not like you were just sitting at home doing nothing. You earned, and it sounds even weird to say this, you earned your allowance. Like, what? Now, I'm not gonna lie. I think between three people, I could make something shake with $1,500. It would be very tight. I do think I could make something shake, but you're not here for financial advice. So I'll just say that. Because especially if you weren't having to pay the rent, it looks like the biggest expense you had was your car insurance and groceries and gas. I would have really been making it shake. Anyways, that's not the point. You were here now. You got the debt. You were here now. Yeah, your husband sound like an op, sis. Like, I don't understand his reasoning. I'm getting a sense that he's trying to be controlling. You got pregnant quickly. He basically coerced and manipulated you to stay home and take care of the kids for 7 years. Like, he convinced you to do that. And now that you're out working, he's trying to limit your income even more. Like, is he afraid that you're gonna leave? I don't know. Something is sounding off about this situation. So some of the comments, someone said financial harm is harm. Someone responded, it sounds like pretty straightforward financial harm. Another person, they got married when she was 26 and he was nearly 40, which means they probably started dating when she was in her early 20s and he was in his mid to late 30s. There's clearly a huge power imbalance in the relationship, and her husband is determined to keep it that way. OP, your husband is harming you, getting you, quote unquote, unexpectedly pregnant, not once, but twice, forcing you to be a stay-at-home mom against your wishes, giving you a small allowance rather than direct access to his bank accounts, and now requiring you to pay back that measly allowance he provided now that you've gained back some financial independence. Those are all very telltale signs of harm. He's trying to keep you completely dependent on him so you can't leave. So my advice is, don't let him succeed. Right, that's what it sounded like to me. Like, it's sounding like, and again, to me, the allowance seemed okay, I guess, but I don't know. Like, I'm just a single girl out here. Like, I don't have other people to consider when it comes to budgeting, but I don't know. For her, it wasn't enough. And so it does sound like he's trying to really keep her in a disparaged state. I'm also not married and have never been, so I personally wouldn't give anyone ever direct access to my bank accounts. But like, if I was giving someone an allowance and they said they needed more, I would probably try and see what I can do to give them some more if I was the husband, So I don't know. I do agree with this comment. It sounds like he is up to no good. Someone said, and it wasn't even an allowance if she needed to use that money to pay stuff for their kids and home. That guy is harmful. Someone said for freaking groceries too that he was eating. Now that I think about it, the groceries probably took up a large part of the budget too, because growing up, I have three brothers and a sister. So in total, it was 7 people in the house. Groceries was a bill, okay? And they only have 4, but still. I know groceries probably took up a bunch of that money too, now that I'm thinking about it. Someone said he was technically paying for it and was probably just giving her money so she would do all the labor. For example, grocery lists, traveling to the store, bringing groceries in the house, clearing cupboards in the fridge, putting groceries away. And now he is painting it like she should be grateful for this situation. Right. Someone said, yeah, I was thinking $375 a week is a steal for daycare for 2, not even considering it covered food, car insurance, clothes, etc. Heck, it would be a steal for court-mandated child support for 2 kids. Does he think he owes nothing for the care of his children? That's also a good point, because my friends who have kids, they be telling me their daycare bills, and that's enough. That's enough birth control for me. Daycare is very expensive. That's a good point. Here's another comment that seems like it's going to be good, and then that'll be the last one I read. This person says, the way I see it, even if she spent quote unquote his money on fun stuff just for her, it shouldn't be considered an allowance. She's been doing free labor for him for 7 years. If she wasn't around, he'd be paying multiple people to do everything she does: nanny, maid, personal assistant, chef, etc. He'd also have to pay those people overtime. I'm sure she did all the nighttime feedings for the babies, and when they got older, she did childcare from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., housework after 9 p.m., and was on call around the clock every single day of the year. In addition to paying out the butt for several indentured servants, he'd also go to jail. It's illegal to withhold lunch and bathroom breaks. It's not a break when your kids might need you at any moment, weekends, sick days, and holidays. So she's been working for her husband like a 19th century servant before workers' rights were won. If that's not considered slavery, it's definitely a third world standard. Not to mention, these jobs can't go on your CV, you don't get promoted, etc. Yes, part of the work she does is her share. If her husband didn't exist, she'd also need to figure out daycare and all that, so they both need her labor. But it's partly for him. When there's a stay-at-home parent, whatever the breadwinner earns is equally theirs. The stay-at-home parent isn't getting compensated. Having the breadwinner pay for your room and board pales in comparison to what you'd earn as a combo nanny, maid, assistant, cook, chauffeur, working all day, every day, never not being on call. Wouldn't that be like 6 figures at least? Well, slavery isn't usually compensated, but if it were. Anyway, yeah, whatever he earns is split. Joint bank account. Both partners get some money set aside for individual fun stuff if the budget allows. Both names on the deed, shared stock options, etc. And the breadwinner can't control how the stay-at-home parent spends their share. Otherwise, it's not really theirs at all. For him to give her an allowance for food is already crazy. That's just petty cash. It's going towards his kids. Would you deduct the cost of your children's meals from your nanny's salary? Would you make your housekeeper pay for your kids' winter coats? WTF. But then to want it all back? I really can't believe this still happens in 2024. Well, I mean, I definitely can, but this is interpersonal stuff. We can't control the outcome of elections beyond voting, which bills are passed, or whether the state tries to control our bodies, but we can choose not to share our lives with misogynist and harmful people. OP, please leave. If not for yourself, then for your kids. They know what's happening. Believe me. I mean, that's a good comment. There's some things I don't agree with. For example, again, the joint bank accounts. I would never, ever, ever give anyone full access to my money ever. Ever. But I think if I were the husband, I would be fair and like give my wife, 40% or whatever is like a good amount. I would, if I had the means, I would give her enough to have a good life, essentially. But I just wouldn't have an open bank. I just don't believe in open bank account. I believe in fairness, but I still got trust issues. You're not finna have full access to nothing. But yeah, at the end of the day, I hope she gets it. Actually, this was a month ago. Let me see if there's any update. No, there's no update. Well, just in case she does do an update, I'm gonna add a little comment to see, and we'll go to the next one. Now, this one has an update. The title is, Am I the a-hole for not fulfilling my fiance's wish on our wedding day? There is content warning for homophobia. So, throwaway account. I appreciate if you give me your honest opinion as I'm being pressured from everyone except my aunt to go against my wish. I'm a 30-year-old woman. I have been with my fiance, Sarah, for the last 5 years. We are the same age and we met at grad school. When I was 13, my loving dad passed away. He left a decent amount of money for us. My mom, within 6 months, got engaged to a guy named Bob. Bob had a daughter around my age. My mom married Bob within a year of my dad's passing. Bob really hated me from the start and didn't even try to hide it. He was saying stuff like how my mom should have sent me to a boarding school how if it wasn't because of my dad's inheritance, he wouldn't have me in his house, or other hateful comments because I was on our school's sport team and very athletic. He multiple times told my mom he doesn't feel safe when his daughter is around me. I wasn't even yet. I think they missed a word. It just says I wasn't even yet. Oh, I think they meant I wasn't even out yet, like out as a lesbian maybe. So she says he used this as a reason to exclude me pretty much from everything. My mom, on the other hand, was going above and beyond to prove to Bob that she is the new mom for Bob's little princess. They ended up having 3 more kids. Basically, I was a roommate who did babysitting for my mom and her new family. That's terrible. That is just, oh man, this is why you gotta love yourself, bro. Because people really get in relationships and make the relationship their whole entire personality. And that is not to the point where they are neglecting their own children just to be with a person. That is terrible. Love yourself. OP says, I never had a birthday party or a special day. My dad's sister was amazing to me. I was at their place all the time. She and her family had birthday celebrations for me, and my mom was making excuses not to show up, and of course, the rest of them never showed up. I was really my aunt and uncle's daughter. They were amazing to me. When I left for university, I contacted my mom a few times, but she was always busy, so I just gave up. Here is the issue. Sarah, my fiance, comes from a very family-oriented background. Family is everything to her. Her family asked about mine, and I said my dad passed away and my mom is busy with her family and lives across the country. She actually lives 1 hour drive from us, but this is what Sarah told them, so I just didn't correct them. I didn't entirely lie, technically. Sarah asked me to invite my family to our wedding. I told her no. She said it's very embarrassing to only have my aunt and her family on my side. I reluctantly invited my mom. She called and asked me to apologize to Bob and my step and half siblings for not inviting them and invite them all. I told her no. She said I'm being ungrateful and Bob was a father figure to me. I had a big argument with my mom over this. My mom now says the only way she comes is if I invite Bob, his daughter, and their kids. Sarah is now pushing me to invite them all because she doesn't want to feel embarrassed in front of her family. These people never even gave me a card or said happy birthday to me, so I see no reason to celebrate my big day with them. I, on the other hand, don't want to let my fiance down. I just don't know what to do. Should I swallow my ego and invite my family so my fiance will be happy? I suggested eloping, but Sarah is a firm no. Am I the a-hole to ruin my fiance's day by not fulfilling her wish? Edit, Sarah knows everything about my life. My aunt even talked to her about how they treated me when I was growing up. Edit 2, I will have a serious talk with Sarah tonight. I will try to update soon. Come on, OP, sis. Oh, sis, I have a lot. Sarah is not the one, first and foremost. Second, you need some therapy because it seems to me that your upbringing has affected you maybe more than you realize, and in the way that you interact in relationships. There's no reason why someone who claims to love you and wants to spend the rest of their life with you is trying to pressure you into allowing harmful family members into your space, for one, but on one of the most important days of your life. That is not the one for you. Sarah got to go, okay? And she's doing it because she feels embarrassed because you won't have anybody but your aunt on your side during the wedding. What kind of fiance is, she's basically considering her feelings over your own. She's putting her feelings of embarrassment over your feelings of trauma. Like, that's somebody you want to tie yourself to for the rest of your life, because it's gonna be like this the rest of your life. I'm just gonna go ahead and go to the update because this video is a little bit longer. So OP says, thank you for your comments and DMs. They really gave me perspective on my life. I sat Sarah down last night and explained my reasoning for not inviting my family. She kept saying, "That was a long time ago. They might not be the same people anymore." I felt offended and said, "How on earth are you lecturing me when you've never even met them?" Well, it turned out my mother has been in touch with Sarah. Sarah said they regularly meet for coffee dates and talk. I was about to cry because I was so angry. My mom changed the whole narrative, saying Bob was a father figure, a good, protective dad, and that it was me who didn't love him back because apparently it's my thing to play the victim. She claimed my aunt manipulated me and stole me from their family, trying to be a replacement for my mom. According to her, it's all about my mother. I screamed, "Are you for real?" Ask her next time on your coffee dates why I never had a birthday party growing up. Why was there never a gift under the tree for me? Ask Bob if he even knows when my birthday is, since he was such a loving dad. Why did my aunt have to pick me up before Christmas Eve because Bob wanted to spend the holidays with his kids, not with another man's mistake? Sarah basically repeated what my mom has told me my whole life. You just love to make a big deal out of everything, make yourself a victim, and push everyone away. I told her she had no right contacting my mom. She said I was cruel and claimed she was just trying to help me mend my broken relationship. She even called my mom lovely and said Bob has changed a lot. He's now an LGBTQ ally now that his princess is out. I was floored. An ally? Maybe he should start by apologizing to me for terrorizing my entire childhood. I told Sarah we are done. I can't do this. Sarah sarcastically said, "You just proved your mom's point. Go run to your aunt. Let that old witch ruin your life." I told her she needs to find a new place ASAP considering she's not paying rent. I am. She got mad and asked what excuse I was going to make up this time to justify my trauma. Ooh, Sarah is an op too. What is up with all these stores? They spouses are ops, bro. Opie said I stopped replying. She went on a tirade, breaking our dinner plates. I didn't care. I texted my aunt and she asked if I wanted to spend the night at her place. I said I was fine. I'm taking time off from work. I cleaned up the kitchen, which was full of broken dishware, in the morning because I didn't want my cats to accidentally get hurt. Sarah is still sleeping. I'm going to see how I can legally evict her. I'm a complete mess. But I'll talk to my aunt and uncle for help. Yes, I am not starting to date again until I see a therapist and work on myself. I can't keep going through this, period. Go ahead and get that therapy. That's exactly what I was thinking. So she had an update 5 weeks later, December 19th, 2024. She said, I still get DMs asking for an update. One, Sarah moved out. Finally, her family cursed me and my aunt and uncle as they were packing her stuff. I asked my aunt and uncle to be there because I was terrified of her family, LOL. Luckily, they didn't do anything crazy, just a lot of verbal attacks. 2, my mom left me a nasty voicemail. She said I'm a worthless human being and blew the best thing that happened to me up over some childish resentments. She said, "That's who you are. Ungrateful, spoiled brat." Her husband apparently raised me and I was ungrateful. Whatever, mom, leave me alone. 3, I met with a therapist that I liked, but he is going to retire soon due to health issues. FML. He referred me to his colleague. So, new year, new therapist? 4, I'm not dating. I do a lot of social activities with my friends. Overall, I'm very happy. 5, next step, who knows? Maybe save my money to take my aunt to a nice vacation. I don't have any plans, to be honest. Ooh, I'm so glad Sarah is gone. That's crazy. Let me just double check her profile. Oh, she deleted her account. Dang. Well, guess there is no additional update, but that one was most up to date anyway. So I will go ahead and go to the palette cleanser. Just a reminder, if you haven't already, to like, comment, and subscribe. I haven't said that in a long time. I haven't asked for you guys to subscribe in a long time. But oftentimes, people regularly watch this channel and they don't even realize that they're not actually subscribed. So don't forget to do that. And then this is the palette cleanser. The first post was October 4th, 2020. And it was just this post that said, I am affianced, engaged, betrothed, espoused. I thought we were going to go rollerblading, ... with a ring emoji. And the picture is her man putting a ring on her finger. The ring is gorgeous. It's just a little dainty gold ring. The pictures look so good, and it has like different stones on it. Someone said, your ring is so gorgeous. I love the colors. OP responded, thank you. Each stone is supposed to represent a continent because we're both big travelers, and he wanted to incorporate that. I just thought that was so sweet. Like, and whoever did their photos, the photos look amazing. But then there was an update just this Christmas, a few days ago, and it says, after and before, for Christmas, I got an upgrade. After 11 years together, we found a jeweler that we trusted would create an amazing ring upgrade from the initial ring that my partner had proposed with. I'd wanted a green moissanite central stone and the colored gems from my previous ring incorporated around it. We love to travel, so the gems were meant to represent the continents. The leftmost green and red gems are meant to be Asia and North America, my origin and where I met my partner. So utterly happy and wanted to share. Thank you. And y'all, the new ring is something to behold. It is so beautiful. Like, it is so beautiful. It has that green central stone, and like, it looks like a flower almost, and like two little smaller diamonds to the left, and then some even smaller, like it looks like the stones from the original ring, like around it on the left. Everything is kind of like wrapped around on the left side of it for people who aren't looking. But yeah, there's the after photo and then the before photo of the original ring. Anyways, I just thought that was so cute. The ring is gorgeous, honey. Maybe one of these days I'll be getting married and have a ring, child. I don't know. With the way these stories is going, child, I don't know. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.